Hi.
Oh, welcome.
Welcome to the Kitchen and Jorn show. Obviously, this is not Jorn. Jorn is behind the camera today.
What's up?
Bree is here.
Hi.
If you already clicked on this video, you know what this video is about. So like, I don't know why I'm like dragging this out.
But if you came here via some sort of roulette function,
Well, yeah, we might do a clickbait situation and then you don't know what this is about. I'm making this video about how I have type 2 diabetes. And you might be thinking, oh no, this is a channel about how you eat food. Does that mean the channel's gonna change? No, because I've actually had type 2 diabetes for 2 years. It's gonna be the same as it has been for 2 years. So things have already changed, you just didn't see them. So before we start this video, a few things. There are some trigger warnings for diet talk, unintentional weight loss. So that's the first thing. Second thing is I'm gonna be moderating the ever-living shit out of these comments. Like, not today, Satan. And granted, that doesn't apply to like 99% of you because you all are genuinely sweet, kind people. Like, just absolute sweetheart dumpling cakes. And I have my absolute faith in all of you. But there are some stinkers who get through, and the stinkers will be dealt with. I kind of want to talk about it because I think that there's like a lot of shame, especially around fat people who have type 2 diabetes. I think like people are like kind of reluctant to talk about it. Like I'm gonna be 40 this year, so like, you know, as you get older, like chronic illnesses are just kind of things that pop up more. I guess I should talk about like the impetus for it. Obviously, I'm fine. I'm doing okay. To jump to the end,
things are going pretty well.
things are going pretty well. You might be like, oh no, peril, but like the peril ends, it's fine.
The monster at the end of the book is just Grover, so.
The monster at the end of the book is just Grover, and he has type 2 diabetes. Here's the thing I should start off by saying. So 3 of my 4 grandparents had type 2 diabetes. I've had PCOS my entire life, basically since like adolescence to now. One of the symptoms of PCOS is insulin resistance. It's something I've struggled with my entire life. And so like, this wasn't like a gigantic surprise to me. Honestly, the big surprise, I was feeling like kind of yucky for like a few months. After I got COVID.
Yeah.
After I got COVID for the first time, I was feeling kind of yucky for like a few
You
months.
were kind of low energy. And
Super
like,
draggy.
Yeah.
I was like not feeling good and I was just like kind of sick all the time and I was like, ugh, like what's going on with my body? And then I got my blood sugar checked and all of a sudden my blood sugar went from normal to absolutely in like, I want to say 8 months.
Yeah. You totally skipped right over pre-diabetes.
I did. I completely skipped.
You just
right
tested
over
out of it.
I tested completely. I know. I tested out of it. I tested up into the higher grade.
Yeah.
It was like kind of a shock. Like I was really surprised. There are more and more studies being done about like the effects of COVID long term on the body, and apparently like it does seem to be triggering diabetes in certain people, so it is possible that is what happened there. I also think that there is an amalgam of factors that contribute to this, and we'll talk about that in a second. I was pretty freaked out. And honestly, I think a lot of why I was freaked out is because people genuinely just don't talk about having type 2 diabetes. It really is like kind of a taboo chronic illness to have, which is a lot of why I kind of wanted to make this video because I feel like, let's just have a chat about it. So basically, I went to the doctor and I was just like, ugh! And my doctor was actually really good. He was just like, well, we're gonna put you on like metformin and then we'll check your blood sugar in 3 months. And I would say maybe focus on vegetables and protein right now and then we'll reassess. And I was like, that's it? And he was like, that's it. And I was like, that seems like kind of simple. And he was like, I think right now it's just kind of about getting you down to like a healthy A1C. So let's just start there. And like, honestly, I was like, okay. And then I talked to a friend of mine who also has type 2 diabetes and also got it like right after getting COVID. They were really, really helpful because like when you first get diagnosed, there is like an overwhelming feeling of I have failed. Because like when you are a fat person, I have a joke about this in my stand-up that like I have type 2 diabetes and honestly my life is much better now because people have finally stopped telling me I'm gonna get type 2 diabetes. And it always kills, it always crushes because like it is true, when you are fat, people spend their whole lives being like, you're gonna get diabetes and die, or you're gonna die in the street of something else, like, you know.
Say goodbye to your foot, stupid.
Basically, yes. It's such a ridiculous way that we think about people with chronic illnesses anyway, but we're getting to that. Not only was I feeling like scared, but I also was feeling shame, I was feeling powerlessness, I was feeling just kind of like a lot of things that were like gnarly, and I kind of know where to put them because like people just really, by and large, don't really talk about this online. I didn't go on a diet,
No.
but I sort of like I went low carb for like 3 months and it was really hard.
It was difficult.
And I kind of stopped after a while. And then I checked my A1C like 3 months later and it was in the healthy range. It took me 3 months. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I want to say after, like a year of being on metformin.
About a year.
I started taking Ozempic, which is also what this video is about. Because like, I know everyone's just like, Ozempic, the scary drug. Here's the thing about Ozempic. It's actually a really good type 2 diabetes drug. It's kind of frustrating because it is really, really good at glycemic control. It does its job exceptionally well. It's kind of annoying that it's become synonymous with like massive weight loss. I've been on Ozempic for what, I don't know, a year and a half.
Change?
I think I've lost maybe 15 pounds. And nobody noticed. None of you noticed. In fact, the people being like, wow, Kristin looks like has actually like, I think those have increased. Those have actually gotten worse. So like, nobody noticed. And like, I'm not really trying to lose weight. It just kind of is something that sort of happens with the drug. I think there are people who use it to lose a lot of weight. That's not really my intention. I'm using it as just what it is, which is
Glycemic control.
Glycemic control. Like that's kind of just what I'm doing. I have thoughts on Ozempic. I think it is like, I actually tolerate it a little bit better than metformin. Betty's just like, what if I just rolled around?
What if I got the crazy
What if
right
I
now?
What if I just rolled around on this ottoman because I'm a crazy girl? Betty's best friend, Dusty Doo, is here. And because of that, she's just like, I want my play. I don't want to hear mommy talk about this.
They're cousins and best friends.
I know. I have thoughts. I mean, I have like semantic thoughts about metformin versus Ozempic. One thing about metformin is apparently they're doing studies on metformin, and metformin apparently is like, so far, preliminarily decreasing people's risk of long COVID.
Whoa.
Yeah, and also that metformin is like a very affordable drug. A lot of people tolerate it very well. I tolerated it fine. I don't tolerate it as well as I tolerate Ozempic, honestly. You get used to the drugs and then you kind of like slightly adjust the way that you eat. It's kind of been fine. Like honestly, my blood sugar is just, every time I check it, it's like, it's better.
In a healthy range?
It's better.
Yeah.
It's like better and better. I'm actually like, I'm close to remission. Like I'm close to like not even in the pre-diabetes range.
Wow. Dude, really can't be stated enough. We have changed our lifestyle barely at all.
Yeah, and to be clear, this is not what it's like for every single person with type 2 diabetes. There is no like valor in the fact that like life goes on, you know? Like for some people this is debilitating. I'm not like special or doing better because of this.
You just got lucky.
I just got lucky. I am managing it. So like I'm not just like throw her to the wind. Like we'll see what happens. Like obviously like taking care of that part of myself is like really,
You stay on top of it really,
Yeah.
really well.
Yes, I do. I have a doctor for everything. I have a specialist for everything. I get checked all the time in every way, shape, or form. I know what's going on in my body because I kind of have to. And I think like I kind of want to talk about, I thought like if I talked about this, people are going to be like, the channel, it's going to change. No, like I've had diabetes for 2 years.
Have you noticed?
You haven't noticed.
You haven't.
It hasn't, you haven't noticed. I've like basically just sort of built it into the way that I eat and it was fine. The thing about life is that it's long and it's full of complications and like you can be the most perfect, prettiest princess who does everything right all the time and is perfectly fit and gets good grades and is so awesome and it happen to you. I think looking at people who are dealing with chronic illnesses as though they are somehow irresponsible is both ridiculous and frankly short-sighted. Everybody becomes disabled. Unless you're like a marathon runner who suddenly dies in a skydiving accident, you will eventually become disabled. It's just kind of a part of life. And
Even
so, yeah, even you, everyone. I think understanding some of the stuff you can control and a lot of it you can't. Something that I think is really interesting about Americans' perceptions of disabilities is like, I think because we are such like an individualistic culture and we think like if you are successful, it's because of just you and like you have to rely on just yourself. Like the inverse kind of happens where it's like if something bad happens to you, it's because you did it. And like we're kind of unable to sort of look holistically at like the conditions of someone's life to like think about like how all of these things contributed because you'll never know like how much contributes to like things that happen to you. Because the truth is there are people who are smaller than me that have type 2 diabetes and there are people that are bigger than me that don't. Thinking about things in terms of like if I'm perfect, my life will go perfectly is like ridiculous. Like one of my closest friends lost her leg in a rock climbing accident.
A corollary to that is things happen and then life goes on.
Yeah, you were very much just like, we'll get through it. And I was just kind of like, and then it kind of became clear pretty fast that like,
We were gonna get through it.
yeah, obviously, as I've said before, not everyone's journey is this simple. Not everyone's journey looks like this.
Yeah, no, we're really lucky. We obviously live in a place with really good healthcare. We have really good health insurance.
Yeah, we have really good health insurance. Like that helps too. Like obviously like there's lots of things going for me that help. But I also think that like because people don't talk about this, the idea that there's sort of a spectrum of experiences when it comes to diabetes was kind of unknown to me. Fat people are really, 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 really afraid to talk about having type 2 diabetes. And the thing is that like some of us will get it and some of us won't.
And some thin people will get it.
And some
won't.
thin people will get it and some thin people won't. I've been dealing with chronic illnesses for so long. At this point, I have like the hang of it. And yeah, maybe there reaches a point where like I become sicker or I become less sick, but like all I can kind of do is my best.
And you know what's gonna happen if we reach a point where you become sicker?
What?
We're gonna deal with it.
Yeah, I was sick earlier this year because my butthole stopped working. Like,
true story.
I'm gonna have 2 more surgeries this year that have nothing to do with this. I have to have my tonsils out and I have to get like a cyst off my ovary. I didn't cause that. That just happens. Sometimes I think that we need to be okay with the fact that like just happens and maybe we contributed to it and maybe we didn't, and like we will never know the beautiful mix of things that contributed to it, and the important thing is like how do we deal with what's happening on the ground.
We live in a random and fairly stochastic universe.
I've been thinking about like what are the comments for this video gonna look like. That's kind of been like my main soundtrack. I know, but like the main thing is I expect like somebody really scoldy to be like, how dare you tell people this is not a big deal. This is a huge deal. Diabetes shot my dad out of a cannon into the sea. I'm expecting someone to be like, you don't understand how bad it can get. And it's just like, yeah, man. I mean, like, yeah, there are lots of things I don't understand about how bad they can get. I haven't had every illness on earth. I don't know if you know this. I can only speak to my personal experience, and like my personal experience is things about your life change and you make adjustments and you move on. And like you continue making your channel, you continue, like honestly my life career-wise is going better now than it has ever been. I feel like I'm in a better direction, in a better space creatively than I was definitely 2 years ago, than I was 4 years ago.
Oh, not even close.
For sure. Than I was, I mean like, I guess I could just keep listing years.
Yeah.
10 years ago?
Sure.
11?
Why not?
11 and a half? Yeah, you're right. That one was good.
Also to that person who says like, how dare you not, etc. If you would like something to speak to how bad it can get, may I direct you to every other piece of media about diabetes.
Yeah, or you can make your own videos.
Or you can make your own videos.
I don't know.
I think what you're doing right now is a useful corrective of like, this is not the end of the world.
It truly, I realize that for some people, it is so bad that they cannot get it under control, and it really is terrible. And like, yeah, man, if you can't get it under control, it is serious. Like many chronic illnesses, you troubleshoot the problem, you figure out how to live with it, and then you do. To that effect, yeah, it's kind of not a big deal for me at this point. Honestly, the only time it really comes up is when people ask about like chronic illnesses for like I take Paxlovid, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
Like that, like it comes up for that, or like I have surgery, it comes up because I always check my blood sugar before. Oh my God, people are so annoying to you about your blood sugar because they always assume your blood sugar is probably bad. And I'm just like, okay, have fun checking it. Have fun being annoyed at me that it's normal. You're wasting everyone's time. I mean, like I understand like why they have to do it, but like people kind of assume that if you have diabetes that like your diabetes is not in control. I don't know what you want from me. Sorry.
This is not to say that it is for everybody. This is not to say that it is without serious consequences for everybody. This is just to say that it is possible to be under control. It is possible. Some
people control their diabetes with like just diet, which like is I think harder, but like people do it. It's like I think having medication makes it a much smoother, simpler process. Like I really do like Ozempic as a diabetes drug. It's kind of annoying that like it's a drug that people are like is like
making fun of Drake for taking.
Yeah, or like putting like their hopes and dreams for thinness on, because like I have not achieved thinness with Ozempic. Like I still look like this. Stop being a big titted.
I can only be what my titties are, Kristin.
Every time I see a new doctor, they're always just like, how much weight have you lost on Ozempic? And I'm like, 15, 20 pounds, maybe. It hasn't really impacted my life. My main goal is to make sure that like my A1C is under control. And that's kind of what that drug is aiming to do for me. Anyway, so where are we now? I feel good. I wish that there was like some big dramatic thing where like I overcame the odds and like changed everything about my life, but like that isn't what happened.
You feel you are better.
I am better, but like it really wasn't.
It was just
kind of wasn't that big a deal.
It was honestly just kind of a thing.
And that's kind of why I wanted to make this video, honestly, because I think that like I felt like so much shame about it for so long, like to the point where like I thought about getting one of those monitors on my arm, but I didn't want to do that because I knew people would see it and be like, what's that? And like, I don't know, I might not now, because honestly, I think I'd be too bad about compulsively checking. I've talked about this before. I have OCD and I'm a compulsive checker. I've found a balance, but like that actually was kind of tricky early on because I'm such a compulsive checker, and I'm also a compulsive skin picker. And so testing my blood sugar is like really not something that I should be doing all the time, because I would do it constantly. It's going good and everyone's different, and like everyone's gonna have like a different way of dealing with their body, and like this is just kind of how I'm dealing with it. I think what I kind of want to like leave on is that like it doesn't really matter if you give yourself diabetes. I don't think anyone can give themselves diabetes, to be honest, because I think that there's just too many factors that contribute to like why someone gets a chronic illness like that. It's like saying you gave yourself cancer. We focus a lot on like, we gotta make sure people don't give themselves diseases, and what that means is that people who are just gonna honestly probably get diseases anyway, we treat them like they are failures. Treating the things that sort of happen to you in life as a failure, I think is a mistake, and I think it makes people much more ashamed to talk about things and like feel more companionship, and like I think that that's silly, and I think that that's something that if I can do something to make it easier, I will. So that's why I'm doing this, even though I know that probably at least like there will be 5 doofuses. There will be like a little handful of doofuses that we will have to deal with.
I guess there's gonna be a handful of swampins.
Okay, well I'll take care of the swampins. You can go get pizza.
I can do 2 things.
Actually, also, to go back to the long COVID video, this was actually the second chronic condition I wasn't talking about, is this. So I got migraines, I got diabetes, and I also dealt with heart palpitations, but that's gone now. Yeah. Oh, I should mention that. Turns out I was just dehydrated.
Yeah.
Wild. And then I started drinking more water and it actually got fixed. So like, you know.
Thanks, water.
Well, I know, because I was like, I'm not dehydrated. I drink so much water. Turns out I was not drinking enough water.
Don't be a in the comments.
Don't be a in the comments.
Stay sweet.
Here's what I don't want to hear, is someone being like, you have led a generation of women to kill themselves. No, I have not.
If you had the power to lead a generation of women to do anything, we'd have a much nicer apartment.
I know, we would have such nice cars. Bye, Jen. Bye, Jen's waving. We're waving. Okay, we're saying goodbye.
We got the sign.
We got the sign that we need to wrap up this video because it's going too long. Love you guys.
Mwah.
Bye.